Thank you, Carlo. Thank you, everybody, for joining in today. For those who don't know me, my name is Ernst Blikslager from the Netherlands. I run a school in Rotterdam, Holland. Kenpo, it's called. And alongside, I got Marcel. Most of you guys are already familiar with Marcel, and he's going to help me today about a topic what we're going to handle, what we're going to discuss today during this session. Okay. As you might have noticed already in the schedule, we're going to talk about modern day challenges, or challenges in the modern day of combat, and how you can use your Kenpo, or maybe diverse your Kenpo in a different way in those modern ways of thinking of combat today. What I mean by that is most of the time when we practice Kenpo, of course you got the ideal phase. We're most familiar with ideal phase, and from there on, most of the time you're going to do the what if phase. Also, after the what if phase, there comes the formulation phase, and that last phase, let's say that the formulation is what I think we should discover much more. If you want to compare it to other arts, let's say Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or Muay Thai. Of course, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu basically does the same as we do. We have an ideal phase of ground fighting, of grappling position. And then from there on, you got like a bar, arm bar, whatsoever. It doesn't really matter what position you are. But what the difference is between Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I think, and American Kenpo is we like to discuss a lot between ideal and what if. And Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and other modern day martial arts, they skip the what if and they go straight to the formulation phase. So let's say if you got like a basic form or technique within the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they like to branch off from that technique, and they'll try to go for different positions right away. And that's good, that's fine. That's just a way of thinking, that's just a sort of method of training your martial arts. And I think if we do it as a Kenpoist more in this age of time that we live in right now, I think we can do a lot more with Kenpo. And some of you guys maybe already do it already that way, but maybe some of you don't. And today I'm going to show you a little bit about what the modern day of thinking is compared to what we did back in the day. So that's basically the topic of today, okay? So we're going to start off easy, and I want to go ahead start with the grabbing part of the attacks. I'm thinking about the charging ram, the interceptor ram, broken ram, the technique where a person is trying to grab you around your waist, maybe come charge in, doing it, okay? So I go for the ideal or the traditional phase, and I want to show you the modern day of thinking. So along with helping Marcel. For those who don't know the technique, I'm going to show it real short, and then from there I'm trying to make my point in for what I'm trying to say today, okay? So if we go like charging ram, okay, most of the time when we discuss charging ram, a person maybe, what I've heard before is they're sitting from a chair, they're angry, and from the chair they come up and they try to grab you. Or maybe like 1 or 2 meters from your way, and then it's going to charge you and try to grab you. That's basically what I heard most of the time when we try to train charging ram, right? So if you got the base technique of charging ram, it comes from slowly. You're stepping back, and of course, brace your angle by making a good stance, the forward bow stance. You got to chop in the neck, and you try to block the arm on the side so that it doesn't grab you along the waist, of course. And from there on, some people like to go like this, like a downward chop. I prefer to go straight in. Doesn't really matter what you want to do, that's fine. Again, so the base technique tells us step back with your left, nice forward bow, brace angle. The forward bow, make sure it doesn't, fall on the ground. And then from there, you got the chop, you got the kick, and then the left kick, right? That's the base technique of charging ram. So, what I mean by modern day combat? What is modern day combat actually? Right? If you compare it like 40 years ago or even more years ago, modern day combat is like basically everybody maybe on the street knows how to fight, particularly in some sort of way. I'm not saying that they're professional fighting, but most guys already saw UFC, boxing, kickboxing, those kind of simple stuff. If you don't really familiar with how they throw their fist, you can get caught really easily and really fast. Okay, instead of a traditional punch. So when we're discussing the charging ram or the takedown, let's say, you might be in an altercation, and the distance between me and him is just maybe a meter or maybe less than a meter between us. So when we did here, whatever, we try to fight this person off. As soon as she shoots in, how fast can you raise an angle and try to go for a bow stance? That's quite hard to do, especially when you're distracted from the top. Okay, so let's say he knows a little bit of, let's say MMA fighting, or he may have done some judo or Brazilian jiu-jitsu kind of stuff, and he knows how to take me down. Okay, he's not going to settle for my forward bow. He's not going to settle for that. No way. He's going to chase the level much deeper, try to grab, and then he brings me down to the floor. Of course, you might say, yeah, well, we're Kenpos and we're fast, and you know, we need to respond real quick. And that's true. That's in a certain way. But still, it's still good to have a different solution. Still, okay. So when he comes in short, boom. If you're not quick enough for that forward bow stance, it's going to grab your knees, right? So you may have to adjust a little bit of, in wrestling they call it sprawling. You want to stride your legs a little bit further so it doesn't grab you. So if it goes this way myself for a moment, if you can see my legs, I'm spreading them way out so it doesn't grab them both, because if it grabs them both, I'm down on the floor. So use your weight a little bit more. And now, if you're here and you try to wrestle, try to challenge yourself by placing yourself in this position, and how can I do my technique from here right now? Because he's coming in, you wait for the right moment, and then boom, you shoot that right hand sword in. So you're good? Okay. Okay, because you want to use the element of surprise still in that sort of factor that you have. So again, he shoots in, so I sprawl a little bit further on. Now I got my bracing angle, so sort of a forward bow, you see. And then instead of doing a downward chop, because if you go for the downward chop, some maybe do it this way, you still grab my feet, and now I have to fight them off. And maybe I got a different position I don't want to be in. Okay? So from the base, here we go. So you go shoot in, sprawl your legs a little bit out, make it hard for him. And when you find that right timing, pow, shoot this one in first. And then you got your kick, and maybe go boom, a low kick right there. And then you also got like a certain situation of charge around. Okay, of course, you might think like, okay, that's just a different version, or that's like a what if situation of doing charge ramp. Yes, it is, but also, if you want to translate it to today's fighting, you might ask yourself like, okay, am I start teaching my students all this as a base move? Probably, yeah. But put yourself straight on from that position, like say, if you're in the ideal phase, move faster to a more practical phase. So I don't really call it what if. I just call it just the way how things go right now. Back in the day, they go like, boom. Well, those days are kind of over. Some people may still do it that way, of course, when they're angry, but I like to train it in the most extreme way. I like to train I like to teach my students, well, like, you know what? This whole MMA stuff is quite popular, and just for a few lessons, people can already charge in a different way than we used to do it. So that's a little bit of a tip I want to give you guys. So again, if you start doing the ideal phase, boom, boom, you got the kick, perfect. Train it, drill it. All right, don't talk too much about it. Just drill it, just do it. As soon as you've done that, you got a good in. Then you try to go more in a practical way. Try to see how you can evolve from that. So when he comes in, boom, try to sprawl it a little bit more, and try if you can fight it off from there and do your Kenpo from there. All right, so I hope it makes a little bit more sense. I know some of you guys are by yourself, or maybe you have like a partner. I want to give you guys a few minutes to go over the movements. And maybe if you want to join in, please do. If not, you want to watch and sit back, that's also fine with me.